There are people right now out there building machines that are going to be able to read our innermost thoughts. I'm going to talk to Dr. Pamela Douglas. She is a neuroscientist, and she works on the cutting edge of this technology. And she believes that as this technology continues to grow and become more and more powerful, things are going to get really weird. First of all, thank you for doing this. I appreciate it. So, Pamela, is this a step along the way to eventually being able to read the contents of a person's mind? And how much progress has been done in that area?
People have been able to extract certain words from people's thoughts. Jack Gallant at Berkeley has these amazing results where he's been able to actually decode full moving images from people.
That's incredible. Now, I know that there was a woman who was convicted of a crime because they had proven that she had direct knowledge of the crime scene by these images that they got of her brain that was enough to discern that she was actually there when the crime took place. That's kind of crazy.
I would wonder if I were to tell you a lot of details about a crime, or about anything for that matter, if you wouldn't construct a mental representation of that event in your brain. It didn't actually happen to you, but you have this, what I would like to call a false memory somewhere in your brain that's a mental representation of this event. And I don't know where this technology is in terms of being able to decipher a real from a false memory. So I think it's very premature to accept this as evidence.
When you get an uneducated person like myself, when I look at all this stuff, I go, oh, we're gonna be psychic soon. They're gonna figure out, like, a chip, they're gonna be able to stick it in your head, you're gonna have one, I'm gonna have one, and we're gonna be able to, like, send thoughts to each other and read each other's minds. Is that possible for the future? I'm with UCLA neuroscientist Dr. Pamela Douglas, and she is sounding the alarm about the new generation of mind-reading machines. When I look at all this stuff, I go, oh, we're gonna be psychic soon. They're gonna figure out, like, a chip, they're gonna be able to stick it in your head, you're gonna have one, I'm gonna have one, and we're gonna be able to, like, send thoughts to each other and read each other's minds. Is that possible for the future? It seems like it is, right?
I hope not.
Why, though?
I really do, because I think one needs to start to think about what that world would look like. Is it scary? Is it good? White lies might not be available at that point.
White lies might not be available.
You couldn't tell someone that you're married to or dating, oh, you look, you know,
Ooh.
Lovely, and
yeah.
So relationships would change. I mean, is this the type of world that people would want to live in? It could certainly stifle creativity.
Yes.
I mean, you imagine that people who are really interesting writers, for example, possibly have these crazy thoughts that,
yes.
that then come together into a really amazing story. It's certainly something that bioethicists should consider, we should talk about, because one can imagine that the technology does move in that direction. But at the present moment, we're not there. However, could we imagine a future where you could detect concepts, semantic concepts? Could you read what somebody's visualizing or seeing? I think we could. The ethical and legal and human rights considerations are definitely something that should be taking place right now preemptively.
So it's certainly not outside the realm of possibility for the future.
Right.
Is there a possibility of this technology being used in a way that would almost encourage people to think dangerous thoughts?
So I can imagine a scenario where you've replaced the TSA with a hallway where people walk after they check in, before they reach their gate for the airplane, and during that time, their thoughts are being read. And you tell them, walk down this hallway, whatever you do, don't think of the word hijack. Everyone's going to be thinking of the word hijack. I think you'd get a lot of false positives. From a practical point of view, I don't think that that technology would work any better than what we already have.
But the idea of private thoughts is kind of ridiculous. I think the hive mind's coming. Whether it's a decade from now or 100 years from now, I think that's the trend. It's going to be very strange.
Yes, I would say very strange.
Very strange. All right, so, Duncan, we're going to talk to Dr. Bob Knight. He's the head of Knight Labs at UC Berkeley. That is a cool name. It sounds like a guy in a Batman movie.
Knight Labs.
He says that people are not able to really read minds, but machines can. Can you hear us, sir?
I can. I certainly can.
Beautiful. Thank you very much for doing this. We appreciate it. So, Bob, this is a fascinating field of research that you're working in. Tell us about this technology that you guys have and how sensitive it is as far as being able to read what's going on in a human mind.
Well, the first thing to know is if I show you a picture of something, or I play to you a sound, or I ask you to move your hand, the areas are activated when you perceive, are also activated when you imagine. We take advantage of that by recording from brain areas where you're imagining doing things. So if I play to you, Joe, for instance, the word baseball or football, I can record from your brain and I can reconstruct the activity, capture those signals, turn them into a sound file, and I can play it back on a speaker so you can actually hear what your brain has been perceiving.
Wow. That's amazing. So we're gonna check out this video, and this video is the technology that he's working on in action. What you're seeing is a human head and these sensors put into place that allow this technology to operate.
Waldo. Structure. Doubt.
That's strange.
That gave me the heebie-jeebies, man. I hate brain videos.
We've made some progress, but the technology's in its babyhood.
Wow, that could be potentially really amazing. It seems like there's a massive potential that technology has of revealing thought, which seems to me to be the only real future of psychic energy.
The future's always uncertain. The present is pretty exciting.
Well, Bob, I want to thank you so much for all your work, because if it wasn't for guys like you, dummies like me would never have any idea what the heck is going on out there.
Thank you, Joe. Good luck.
Thank you, sir. Take care.
Nice to meet you. Bye-bye.
If you want to move your arm, an electrical impulse travels from motor cortex eventually to the arm. What Delgado was doing is substituting that natural electrical impulse with a man-made one. And when he did, his subjects had no choice but to move.
Delgado begins working with mentally ill patients, violent schizophrenics, normally candidates for lobotomy.
Turn it off! Turn it off now! Turn it off!
Delgado can induce abnormal behavior in a mental patient by radio control. And he can manufacture emotions even more personal than anger.
God, you're handsome. I don't think I've ever seen anyone so handsome in my life.
The woman wasn't naturally attracted. She had had an electrode that was planted into her amygdala, which is this structure here. And it's an important part of our emotional response system. So by electrically stimulating the region, they were able to induce a sexual response in this woman externally.
Delgado also produces fear, calmness, even euphoria, all at the touch of a button. Though he set out to cure, Delgado's research has produced an unintended side effect. Remote mind control.
Delgado suspected that mental problems like schizophrenia and epilepsy might be caused by aberrant electrical activity in the brain, not a physical defect. And so what he wanted to do was jolt these disruptions and hopefully reboot the normal organized activity in the brain, rather than cut it up with a knife.
Our brains are remarkable, miraculous even, but they can't do everything. Unless we give them a little high-tech help.
When children see the movie The Matrix, and they see Neo jacking an electrode and all of a sudden becoming a gung fu master, the first question they ask is, how can I get one? Well, this does not yet exist, but it's actually physically possible.
The key to transforming learning from an organic process to a machine-like downloading of information is a squiggly bit of brain known as the hippocampus.
The hippocampus is the gateway to memories. Short-term memories are stored right here in the prefrontal cortex, but eventually they have to be transferred to long-term memories, and that's where the hippocampus comes in.
This part of the brain doesn't store the memories, but it does the appropriate conversion.
At the University of Southern California, bioengineer Ted Berger has already proven that a computer chip can replace or enhance brain function.
Right now, what our prosthesis does is to convert a code that's kind of in the middle of the hippocampus to what would be the output of the hippocampus.
They've been able to take mice and access the electrical signals coursing through the hippocampus and record them. And then when they shot the message back into the hippocampus, the mouse remembered the task.
We found that we can not only restore long-term memories, we can enhance the animal's ability to remember. You could think about using devices like this to greatly enhance human memory and to shorten the cycle for learning in terms of downloading huge quantities of memory at a single time.
Chips that augment our hippocampus could very well help us learn faster. So will that make them a must-have for competitive parents?
At that point, it could create an arms race in elementary school.
What is 4 times 3?
Rumors go out that, well, Jones's kid, he's been enhanced, and our Johnny has to compete with this enhanced kid.